Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and notes mashup video today, starting with Tyson Fury, DILLIAN WHYTE. So a rip-roaring start to ticket sales for their event, April the 23rd at Wembley. So see here on screen, so the press release from Queensbury, and you can see this little graphic. Tyson is a rock star. He could have sold out 3 Wembleys today. So tickets went on sale, and they say 85,000 tickets were purchased within 3 hours. So saying huge numbers sold, and that what remains at the moment, 5,000 coach tickets, which are yet to be released. But further down, Frank Warren does go on to say, or Queensbury, that they've begun the process of applying to local authorities to extend capacity to 100,000 fans, which would make it the largest post-war boxing attendance in UK history. And should Queensbury Promotions' application to extend the crowd to 100,000 be granted, tickets will be announced in due course and again will be sold via Ticketmaster. And I think very similar in terms of the those tickets that were in reserve, coach tickets. Anthony Joshua, when he fought at Wembley, there were coach packages. They were effectively the last to go because the council, I recall, and this could be similar for this sort of situation too, didn't want to overload public transport, wanted some of these sort of situations people taken to and from wherever they were getting dropped off. So this is a big start. Frank Warren saying, I always imagined that this fight wouldn't be hard to sell, so I'm happy we opted to stage it in the biggest and best venue in the UK. This illustrates just what a big draw Tyson has become. His personality is infectious and he is truly a champion of the people. He is also the #1 heavyweight in the world and one of the most recognised sportsmen on the planet. I'm thrilled that we are bringing him back to Britain to perform on the biggest stage of all against DILLIAN WHYTE, and a domestic dust-up that will be the biggest boxing event of the year. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the fans for their incredible support of this event, and we will be in for some night on April 23 at Wembley Stadium. So Tyson Fury, DILLIAN WHYTE, 85,000 tickets sold, 3 hours. It's a pretty good start, and I have seen that, there have been people questioning, were bots involved from other ticket resellers, aka StubHub? Those sort of questions have been asked, and there is the potential for that. But it'll be interesting to see if the application to raise it to 100,000 is granted, and if they can do that, will they sell out the remaining tickets? I do remember for some of those other events in recent years at Wembley for Anthony Joshua, some of those were there pretty hard to shift in the end. Anyway, I think this is good news, good for boxing. Always going to be a popular event. I sort of thought that it was going to do well, maybe not this well so straight out of the gate, but it does show Tyson Fury's popularity. DILLIAN WHYTE, also a big name in his own right, and you pair these guys together, you're going to get a lot of interest. And Fury had also thrown out there publicly, and perhaps as bait to try get people in, saying that he was going to retire after this fight, which I just don't see happening. But yeah, what do you make of it all? Tyson Fury, DILLIAN WHYTE, 85,000 tickets sold in one day, or should I say 3 hours. Meanwhile, the unified heavyweight champion OLEKSANDR UYSK is ready to defend his country, currently in the Ukraine. Also says doesn't know when he's going to get back in the ring, doesn't know when his next fight will be. So we'll come to that in a moment, but a couple of comments here that will just quickly pass through. So he's headed back to Ukraine, cut a visit short to the UK last week. He says, if they want to take my life or the lives of my close ones, I will have to do it. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to shoot. I don't want to kill anybody. But if they will be killing me, I'll have no choice. But of the boxing side, obviously, which is kind of secondary right now, you do have OLEKSANDR UYSK saying, I really don't know when I'm going to be stepping back in the ring. My country and my honor are more important to me than a championship belt. So OLEKSANDR UYSK putting it on the line, literally. So respect that man. So hopefully things do sort of clear up with that situation. It does look unlikely at this point, given the advance of the Russian army. Meanwhile, you have the promoter for Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, saying to MMA Fighting that if Anthony Joshua is made to wait because Alexander Usyk is unavailable, he could look to pursue an interim fight before the Alexander Usyk rematch, or it may just be delayed. So Hearn has also said that Usyk is the only fight that Joshua wants, but he's now obviously defending against Russia, etc. Also of Anthony Joshua, so he's been quoted as saying, "I'm a fan of boxing, away from actually competing in it. I listen to a lot of people talk about boxing. At the minute, I'm listening to a lot of Virgil Hunter, who's an experienced coach. I've been listening to a lot of Virgil Hunter." So Joshua with his riddles there. Is this a signal that Hunter is going to be his next trainer? Obviously, one of the guys that he did visit on his trip a few months ago after he lost to Alexander Usyk the first time. Joshua has signaled through Eddie Hearn that the trainer sort of situation will be announced prior to his next training camp, whenever that's going to be. And perhaps it's going to be sort of put off if Alexander Usyk is going to be unavailable. But if you're going to announce a trainer, just do it. Enough with this sort of these riddles wrapped up in riddles. Kind of getting sick of it. And just circling back to another issue coming out of this Russian conflict, at least for a Russian fighter. So in the latest iteration of the WBA top 15 rankings that have come out, Arslanbek Makhmudov has been dropped. So he was at number 8, which is now not rated. And there's also, in terms of the title, where it's normally sort of considered, you can see the Continental Belt above it, hashtag no war. So of the sort of situation in general, not just the heavyweight division and Makhmudov affected, but it says, the WBA says it is worth mentioning that the Directorate met this Monday, February 28th, and made decisions to support peace on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and decided to remove from the rankings all Russians and Belarusian boxers who were in the list. Going on to say that the places where Russian or Belarusian fighters were rated are now identified as unrated, along with a hashtag no war message instead of the nationality. But it does seem to be actually in the belt section, not in the nationality section. The Pioneer organization will continue a month-to-month review of this temporary measure, which could be reversed depending on the circumstances. So we'll just get to a few fight announcements and then on to a couple of other bits and pieces, things happening this weekend. You've got Hosea Stewart, the British heavyweight prospect, who you may recall for his first pro fight, he's a Wasserman fighter, weighed in at 345 pounds. So he'll be back in action on a Wasserman boxing card on Sky Sports Saturday, April the 2nd. That's in Newcastle. So Hosea Stewart was 345 pounds for that first pro fight. That's really sort of saying, you know, Jarrell Miller, I can outdo you. I'm going to hold my bear. You may recall Miller weighed in sort of 315 to 320 for a few fights a couple of years ago, obviously ahead of what was Jarrell Miller eating PEDs like Tic Tacs. But also on that same card, you've got the 6'8" Matty Harris. So that's his stablemate at Wasserman. Both were on, actually, their pro debuts were on the same card. So both of them looked okay in their first fights. Nothing special, but obviously a lot to prove. Development. You know, we really won't know what we've got with some of these guys for a couple of years. But both of them do seem to have some decent skills, some good attributes to work with. And even though 345 pounds, Hosea Stewart seems to move pretty well for a big man. And if you followed his social media in terms of his training clips, he moves really well for a big man. He's promised he'll be in a much lighter weight. But you may end up seeing the likes of Harris and Stewart more than just on the Sky platform, with Wasserman Boxing, which promotes both of them, announcing a multi-event broadcast deal with Channel 5. So perhaps they'll bounce between. But that's got to be good for Wasserman, which is trying to have a bigger sort of presence in the United Kingdom. Obviously, Wasserman, previously Sauerland, had been mostly German-based, but they have been spreading their wings a little bit. It has been a little bit of a lean time through the pandemic, but now starting to have these Sky cards. Obviously, this deal with Wasserman. Jeamie TKV recently signed to Boxer. He'll be having his pro debut. That will be on Saturday, the 26th of March at the Wembley Arena. So Jeamie TKV, decent amateur. He says over the moon to announce I'll be making my professional debut this month at the OVO Arena. and he says message me for tickets. So hearing good things about him, and I think for a lot of people we'll be able to get a much better look at him, his skills, where he's at on that pro debut 26th of March. Meanwhile, this weekend, a couple of American heavyweights are back in action on the Ramirez-Pedraza undercard. Richard Torrez, the Olympic silver medalist, having his first pro fight, and also the 6'9" Antonio Mireles. So in terms of Richard Torrez, he's facing a guy called Alan Melson, and in the press release which has been issued, he said, "I can't wait for my town and my community. They've been so behind me from the Olympics and going forward. I can't really wait to show them what I got. I feel like not only kicking down all the doors necessary for me to be here today, Jose Ramirez, you really showed me not only how to be a boxer, but to be a role model. That's who I want to be like too. You're a legend in these parts, and I just want to say thank you for that, for kicking down these doors. I'm ready. I want to show the world I want to show the world what Richard Torrez has to offer." And that felt incredibly difficult to read. So, yeah, make of that what you will. Those comments there from Richard Torrez, obviously paying tribute to Jose Ramirez. Also, Antonio Mireles, 6'9", he's going to be facing a guy called Brandon Hughes. So Mireles, like Hughes, are both undefeated at this point, 2-0. Really have only seen mostly sort of training footage of Mireles, so interested to see how he goes. Also this weekend, or should I say, is it Friday European time, you've got another free event featuring the Polish prospect Damian Knyba, pictured here. He's going to be facing DILLIAN WHYTE. So Fight TV has this card for free, saying the Pride of Poland heavy hitters will be on display this Friday when Damian Knyba 5-0 takes on 12-round fight vet Knife DILLIAN and the RBK Promotions boxing headliner, live and free on Fight with English commentary, which certainly does sometimes make a difference. Actually, randomly, Jarrell Miller was at the last event and was in the ring after Knyba's fight. It was a bit weird. And also, so was that stoppage in that last fight for Knyba. But that's by the by. And you've got Joe Cusumano, who was last seen getting knocked out by Daniel Dubois, saying that he's back in the ring for the first time in a while. "I had to soul search. It's led me back to what I love, boxing, baby. Thank you, everyone, for patience. We will be back soon." What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.